Right.
So they have public notices in there, they have a crossword.
Michelle,
they
I do not
a
have
lot
a
of good
quorum. I'm
stuff
gonna
in
give a
there,
call to
and it's
Kylie.
almost all
Okay.
purely local.
Yeah. Is Brent on?
No, I don't have anybody on Zoom. I don't have a quorum.
Okay, we are missing a quorum then. We don't have, I just talked to Brent, but we are waiting on a quorum to be able to start.
Okay. Are we live? Yes, it looks like we might be live, so we'll be careful.
Watch what
Yeah.
you say.
That's right.
So we can't discuss anything until we have a quorum.
We were just talking about tried even doing it on my phone or something too, Zoom, and it wasn't coming up there either. I don't know.
We got it
Guess I'm
fixed.
just old.
No, Brent, I think
Okay.
I think it was a problem here. You were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay.
I'm going to call the meeting to order for the Accessibility Advisory Board, and I request staff confirmation that the Kansas Open Meetings Act required notice has been properly provided.
Yes, it has.
Thank you. And roll call, please.
Okay, Chair Oaks,
Here.
Vice Chair Rickman. Here. Commissioner Finger.
Here.
Commissioner Kilmer.
Here.
Commissioner Kirkhart.
Here.
Commissioner Griffin. Here. Commissioner Cumberland.
Okay, thank you. We all were sent a copy of the minutes, and I hope everybody's had a chance to take a look at them. Any changes needed to the minutes at this point? And if not, I will entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
And a second.
I'll second.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor of approving the minutes from June 1st, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. They have been approved. Next area is any public hearing new items, and I do not see any listed.
No.
Okay.
No, Chair.
And so we'll go on to some administrative items. Last time we worked on some goal liaison projects, so some updates on there. First, Commissioner Kirkhart, the website.
Yeah, I went up on the website, and like I said, I just want to be like someone that, an older person, well, I am an older person, but it's like somebody that not too computer literate and stuff. I went on a website, okay, I went to find something ADA, scroll down, boom, right there, and it opened it up, and I was able to find, okay, if someone had a complaint, they could do that. If they wanted to see what all the ADA bills are and stuff, they could find that there. Right now, I like what we have, and I'm sure there'll be something that'll come up and we say, hey, we might want to tweak it this way or something, but I like what's going on right now, and I think, like I was talking to Michelle earlier, maybe not always as older people are going to need the ADA, but if someone older that's not used to computers, I think if they find the website, they can, and I like how it's not spelled out ADA, it's, you know, Americans with Disability Act, so they'll know, oh, that's where I want to be. So I like that, and I think it's, right now, we're on the right track with it.
Sounds good.
I would just note it just went live this week.
Okay.
So he hasn't had a lot of time to experiment with it, and I advised, we spoke earlier, and Commissioner Kirkhart, I advised I'd send him some of the stuff to like check your websites and things to look for and do that, but like I said, it just went live this week, so we were given it a little bit of time to adjust, but I appreciate his input from looking at it so far.
Thank you. Social networking and social media posts is Commissioner Rickman.
Yeah, I met with Michelle, and we're just kind of trying to come up with some ideas that are engaging with social media, and some things like that people would want to know about. We discussed some ideas like the accessibility features of the city-county building, because since the city-county building has to be accessible, what does that look like? What does that mean? And pointing out some of those things maybe in the form of a video or, you know, something engaging that people want to look at and want to see. We also discussed a couple of other side projects, like we have wonderful art and things to do in Salina, but they're not very accessible to people that have
Various
disabilities. And so discussing what that would look like, making the murals accessible to people with visual impairment and that kind of thing, and a sculpture tour. We have some really cool stuff, but it's not really always that accessible. So we kind of just had some of those like preliminary discussions, I would say, discussing who needs to be involved in those kinds of projects, and how to get started. You know, that those are kind of big undertakings, and I don't know about anybody else, but I don't have that much volunteer time.
Volunteer time and the money involved as well.
And the money, yes,
As well,
yes,
so, yeah.
yes.
And we think that will be some sort of a collaboration effort to move those projects forward. And I just wanted to add that we spoke with Commissioner Rickman a little bit about, we are posting this month, you might look for our social medias that are some buy purchase. We have some funding that we do through our FAP, which is our fair housing program, and HUD wants us to push out that. So this month it is combined fair housing and ADA, and how, or not ADA because fair housing, it's the Fair Housing Act, but accessibility under the Fair Housing Act. So the social media that should be on 311 and Salina Post and TPEC, the TPEC sign we have this year, we're trying to post different things throughout on that. So look for, if you can, this month it is focused on fair housing and accessibility. So look for our post and see if you, let me know if you see it. I did see our one we had for the last month, and I took a picture of it and sent it to Marissa, because Marissa does a lot of that design work for them. So, but I think what we're looking for is ideas for the design work from this committee. So we did get started.
Good. Do you have a schedule? Like how often do you plan to post, or?
Well, we have a schedule. Most of it's not, because the funding is through fair housing, so it's not all going to be ADA or accessibility design posts. But right now we are posting, well, I think it's once a week is what Salina Post is. Marissa, correct me if I'm wrong. Marissa probably knows a little bit better.
So the Salina Post is a monthly ad that stays up on their website.
Okay, thank you.
I sent 2 to Salina 311.
And then TPEC is, we have a contract for the year, and then I don't know how frequently it comes up, but it's the outdoor big sign. Okay. So there'll be something posted on that. And this month it's all tied to accessibility and fair housing.
Okay. And like on Salina 311, is it certain days of the week, or?
It's their morning briefing email.
Okay, okay.
I don't think there's any specific dates set.
That it will be.
But we're having 2 random days for the
And
month of September.
it was this weekend when I pulled up the post and was just looking up an article, and it just came up, and it stayed up, and then I did something else and it came up again. So hopefully, I don't know how much visibility. And then they also post things through the Salina website internally, like our Facebook, social media that way. So, and I think we try and tie in a lot of the same that we do.
That was my next question.
Yeah,
was if
it's
you
a
were using
tie-in.
the same things over.
So we try and do it by month.
Yeah.
So for this month, we'll have a couple different posts, and they'll be the same, like rotating through those different sites. And we do stuff on CityGo too. So, but yeah. But our goal is to do it by month, so that for the month you're seeing kind of the same stuff, to that repetition, in marketing, that repetition. But that's what we're trying to do. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, because I thought it was nice it tied in this month.
Good. Thank you. The next item is training materials, which is currently unassigned.
And so we kind of, I know, talked a lot about building some materials, and we don't have anyone with that, but using that maybe as an opportunity to talk about, or using that committee if someone wanted to build into having on our next item an educational training session at some point. We currently do the Fair Housing Seminar every April, which is Fair Housing Month. We'd like to build towards having a seminar or something more ADA related, having this commission be like our fair housing, or our HRC is to the fair housing. So some sort of a commission meeting that you host that would be educational. We'd run it probably on that same model, and it would tie in, I think, to the training mission that we've kind of, may not be exactly what we thought when we first set that goal, but I think it would tie in. And that's, I don't know if still wants to volunteer, look into it. We kind of have a formula we use for recruiting, getting some people, getting speakers. And I think the key to that is having educational opportunity hours for people that are needing those types of hours, social workers, realtors in that case. I don't know. I'm not sure about realtors for this one, but they might still, because depending on what sessions we do. But, coming up with the formula of having some sort of training. I know ADA coordinators need certain hours. There's just a lot of hours we could offer if we put something together. It would be looking longer term, maybe not completing it this year, but running it in not 2024, but October of 2025. So we'd have time to build those materials and build some speaker base and do that. We just didn't think we could do it. Let me repeat that. Not by October 2023, but October 2024. I'm getting confused on my years.
And October is ADA month,
I think that there is, we were just talking about that. I think it's ADA in employment. Like they have,
it is employment.
Okay.
Yes.
There's different, recognition of when
All
ADA
kinds.
was passed.
It's in
recognition of
July.
ADA, but I think it's employment in October,
It
so it
is.
would tie in, and it would bookend our Fair Housing Month. It's 6 months apart, so that's what we were looking at, tying that into the training materials and having that. That's kind of our proposal and the direction we're thinking. We still are looking for, if we don't have anyone assigned, it will just be staff working on it with guidance from this commission, this body.
I think we have people in this community that have more knowledge about that than I do.
Yeah.
I used to work at Independent Connection, and I think somebody there was training to be an ADA coordinator at that time, and so.
And I believe she's
maybe
passed it.
Yeah,
I
so
believe she's
maybe
passed
that, maybe that's a good route to take is.
Yeah. It would be working with some other individuals. We wouldn't expect the person that volunteers to do this to do all the training or all the sorting. We have a project management plan already written out to how to do the other one. So it would be just kind of adapting, coming up with speaker ideas and, maybe just helping spearhead that and keeping it going.
I'm going to bump to the next two, since those were mine, the transition plan and the resource list, and say sadly that I have not done anything, but I'm scheduled to work on the resource list next week with Marissa, and we can discuss the transition plan where it is
With me.
at that point. But the reason I was going to bump into it is, as I'm working on the resource list, it'd be interesting to kind of maybe be asking for speaker type people and who their specialists are, maybe
Yes.
on some of that.
And I think a lot of the ADA coordinator networks and the National Symposium, I met quite a few people when I was able to attend it this year, that we can come up with some, I think we'll have no problem coming up with some educational materials and speakers.
And also some of the folks, as we talk to them on the resource list, just to get to know some names to invite them to come to
Yes.
such an event as
Yes.
well. So
Yes.
I think that's a good idea too.
And so are you developing a resource list or?
I'm going to start out with updating the existing lists that we have
Okay.
to see if those entities are still in existence, if they're still providing the same services. That's my start out point, because it's kind of an ongoing process with them.
It always changes.
Well, and so this is a conversation that we had last week at a conference I was at KW. And so they were kind of working on some projects over there, and one of the ones that they said was developing a community resource guide. So there's so many places that have community resource guides, so then the conversation kind of went to how can we
Consolidate
Yes,
them.
and like work
Yeah.
together on
Yeah.
those, because I know Independent Connection just came up with a brand new one. The United Way has one that they've had for years. They were talking about developing one at Kansas Wesleyan for the social work students. I mean, you guys have one, so what can we do to,
Ours is public and it's not confidential. It's on the website.
Right.
They're welcome to use it.
maybe that we just need to provide some education around that, and maybe that could be one of your
Social media.
Just to continually share.
Yeah.
And like we talked about at our last meeting, that resource list is just a floating target to keep it updated and change. So I would anticipate it's going to be something that's going to be
Right. And
continue
I know
to be
that's how
worked
like
on.
the United Ways is.
Yeah.
They've kind of gone through some staff changes, so it's not always top of the priority list. So maybe that's a way that we could collaborate on that one. Maybe is that they could link to yours instead of creating their own. I don't know. I could
And
throw out
a
some-
lot of agencies I know have their own internal ones they
Right.
use. So, the more you can get people to update, and it's
Yeah.
kind of a constant thing to get them to send the list. And I think a lot of times it's sending the list and saying, do you still do this? Or,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
call, if you have time to make calls,
Right.
not just sending the list, but
Or what is a link to your list?
Yeah, right. Like just
Yeah.
that coordination would
Yeah.
be something to look into.
it's never ending though. I will just
Yeah.
say
It
it's,
is.
it's like laundry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just a floating target.
Yeah.
To try
Yeah.
to keep that current. So,
Yeah. So we appreciate the help.
Okay. And I'm on it now. Okay.
Well, and I will try and do better. My intent had been to send out a reminder where we don't meet as regular, we have a more gap between our meetings. I was going to send out a reminder a couple weeks before, and we'll try and send out kind of just a tag reminder so we stay, the committees and the liaisons kind of keep moving, keep making a little bit of progress and chip away at it, right? But that will be our intent, is to try to send out some reminders. But liaisons, please don't, if you don't hear from me, you have full authority to contact us. We just ask that you don't contact each other to start a meeting
Right.
or risk any sort of core violation.
And I skipped over the transition plan discussion. Michelle, do you have any updates on that, or?
It's still in progress. I now have passed the ADA coordinator training, so it's kind of next on the list. We got a couple big things we're getting through, and it's big on my list to start working on, and I'll be calling you.
Okay.
When you're in for the resource list, we might touch base a little bit too, but I was trying to get the ADA coordinator test passed and all those hours done, and so I am now officially certified, so.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So there's two Michelles on the
Great.
committee that are, and there's the person at Independent Connections, so I know of 3 now locally.
Great.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Compared to what, none before that?
There hadn't been in a while,
I
'cause
don't think there had been anybody in Salina for a long time.
How long have you
prior.
been, Michelle?
a couple months. You were like
Just
January?
I think
Yeah, so
January.
it's pretty recent, yeah.
So, and I think she was, the Independent Connection, Nancy was last year sometime.
Yeah, probably.
Because I think she passed about the time of, we had her come to our April Fair Housing
Fair Housing thing.
seminar, and help with that. And I think she had just kind of passed right around there, but I lose track of time. So
Yeah.
when you get way past 30,
Well, first Friday of August is tomorrow, and I was like, didn't we just have first Friday of July?
yeah,
So
Yeah.
time is just going too fast.
yeah, it does. It just is a blur.
All right, we have kind of discussed hosting an educational training seminar.
Yes.
So I'm going to move on to discussing topic ideas for future training at meetings or for the seminar.
We just wanted to give an open item on the agenda if anyone had suggestions, because that's what we're always kind of looking for, those ideas and suggestions. Trainings, seminars, what you want to see, what you think might be good ideas, speakers. And if you can't think of them off the top of your head, please, just email them to staff, and then we can do it. But this is the open forum if someone has any ideas. Kylie and Brent, if you have anything to add to, or I'm sorry, Commissioner Kilmer and Commissioner Kirkhart. If you have any ideas to add, we just want to keep bringing those up, because I think that's going to be keys. getting topics that people want for social media, for the trainings. What are those topics? What are the speakers most relevant? If Dr. Finger has any ideas, like what can we educate people on, and what ideas for speakers and topics?
I don't have any now, but I can probably email you
Okay.
a list of
And we'll
some.
kind of keep bringing that up, because I think
Sure.
if that's the hard part, is always coming up with the ideas.
And I frequently will ask the question, what accessibility issues have come across your desk in the past quarter? Is it
Service animals.
service animals?
Service animals and service animals.
With regard to housing?
It's both service animals, and I want to say emotional support animals and pets, all three. I mean, that tends to be the biggest one. We have had some swimming pool type issues too with landlords, and that becomes a little bit, whether the ladder and whether or not the lifts and that kind of stuff. That's been another one. I guess it's the season, right, for swimming
Right.
pools. So we have had a couple of those.
Well, and I
thinking.
know service animals were covered at the Fair Housing Workshop. It might be appropriate to bring that up again with a different audience, you know?
It's probably the one evergreen, like we can probably always do, because it is such a confusing area.
Uh-huh.
And people think they know, but it's probably the most misunderstood. And I guess there are a couple of more, I'm thinking of actual filing of complaints, but we've had a couple, I think Commissioner Griffin brought forth a few that we've been working on. One of them, the city is also going to take action. It was just knowing that there was water standing in a certain area where a ramp was, and the city is committed to, the engineers have committed by the end of the year to have that one worked on. And then there's another one, I'm not sure I'm ready to bring it up forward, because we need to do some research on it, but just some things that aren't commonly thought about, and I think that we can do better.
Well, and something that I see that, would be probably a really good training is, we're really blessed in Salina to have not only like the Targets and the Walmarts, but we have a lot of small businesses. And so like accessibility of a retail space tends to be something that I see quite often. You don't
How to make it.
how to make your space where you sell whatever you sell in a way that the most people can access what you offer. Most of the small business experience is going in and people know your name, and you get those warm feelies. But I've watched my grandma, who uses a scooter, go in the door and go back out the door because she can't get around inside the building or inside the store because she's on a scooter. And some people, it's not because you don't care, it's just because you don't think about it. It's maybe not necessarily the demographic that you're looking at, but those people are trying to patron your store.
And are good patrons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are
Very good
willing to
point.
spend the money. And I think that just takes education. That just takes somebody saying, hey, did you know that I don't come to your store because da 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 da. And I know that the normal person isn't going to say that, but I think that's the point, it needs to be brought.
Well, I think there's a lot of design elements, and an architect, I think that's a good point. If we can find someone, the design elements that maybe aren't required, but just make a huge difference.
Yeah, because I think that a lot of that isn't required. You just have too much stuff in too small of a space.
Yeah.
Really, sometimes that's just the issue.
If anyone online has anything to add, if any other commissioners online.
No, I agree with that because I've experienced some of that as far as going to the stores. I was at another town and go into just a convenience store to go to the bathroom, but I go down the hallway, they got boxes piled in there, and I went, someone walking would probably even have trouble, but I went, and they're there, so it's just bringing attention to people, hey, making them realize maybe, hey, what's going on.
Yeah.
I was thinking with elections and going out and voting, people can be aware that if you are visually impaired, there are methods to help you to vote. If you are hearing impaired, and you need to have the ballot read to you, there is equipment that can be used for that. There's just a lot of just education type things that we would want people to be aware of, so that they can be full citizens. Yeah.
I think that's a timing, and maybe that's a social media post too for timing wise.
definitely.
Yeah, because I mean, it blows my mind every time that I hear somebody say, I didn't even know I could do that, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, you know, like,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that you don't know, you know, like, that nobody ever took the time to teach you or to, you know,
That's
to
not
reach
very-
out.
yeah.
You know, it's so, yeah, and it's just simply, I think, because people don't know. You don't know unless you're affected by it. I mean, really, is
Yeah.
what I think it boils down to.
I was in a wheelchair last fall because I broke my foot, so between being blind and in a wheelchair, I was happy to know that I could go into my polling center with no problems in
Yes.
a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, those give us a couple ideas, the voting and the design ideas. Maybe would be some timely, and maybe the swimming pool stuff. It's some timely
Some seasonal.
social.
Yeah,
Yes.
seasonal things. Yeah.
And always, so the service animals /80 ESA.
I've even seen like, and this is probably like a really big pipe dream because it's kind of a big undertaking, but I've even seen in other communities where they have a special day where if you have a disability or you're just nervous, they have a polling computer, whatever, like a test, so that you can come in with somebody that supports you, or, you know, whatever, so that you can use it and learn how to use it without all of the pressure of it actually being your actual vote. You know, it's just like a test.
It would not surprise me if that isn't available here too. I
Yeah,
think
and
it may
I've never
be.
heard, but potentially. I just know I think I've heard they've done it in Hutch before. Just had like at the library or something. You know, you could go in and learn how to use it, so that maybe if you don't want help, you don't want your support person to be with you when you vote, you just want to do it yourself, but you're just not sure, then you know, you could
Could be a way to
be taught how
more
to
confident.
utilize
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So get with the election clerk, maybe the county clerk.
They are so much promoting, we want as many people to vote as show up or are interested in voting, and in the best way possible, that I wouldn't be surprised if they wouldn't be willing to do something like that. Yeah.
It depends too on equipment and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
but I would be surprised if you showed up not on election day or not the
Right.
week of election, but any other time during the year, if the county clerk staff wouldn't walk you through something like that, just on an individual basis, maybe not having a day dedicated, but knowing the county clerk staff that I've had contact with in my interactions, I wouldn't be surprised if they would have that available, or just, you know, go up there and they would do it kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I can't speak for them for sure, so that I am speaking just assuming. So I would say if anyone's listening to this meeting and hears that, I would call or reach out to them and see what they have available, but just not during election week. Because it's a little crazy
probably
for
about
them.
10 to
like, do
14
it-
days before they
do
get started,
Do it
yeah.
at a slower time, not
Yeah.
during the crazy month of
Yeah.
elections, because it's a big
I
responsibility.
think I was just thinking of like a really, really low barrier. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and the lowest barrier is going to people where they are. Like,
Yeah. Like,
yes,
well,
you
having
could
a
come to
day.
the city county building, but do you know how
Having a day.
intimidating it is to come to the city county building?
Even calling
Yeah.
would be intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking like way low barrier at the public library, or you know,
the
somewhere where you're meeting people where they are. You're not making them come to you or to call, or you know, I love that they would probably do that. That's amazing. I was just,
Yeah.
it's sometimes a little intimidating.
Yeah, it's a good suggestion for them. Since they are the county that runs that and not the city, it's outside our jurisdiction, but I would be happy to, maybe mention to them or see if they're interested or have them be a participant in our educational day. If we do that educational thing, that's a really great idea to, if we do this, in 2024, if that's what the direction of this group decides to go, which I guess that is one thing we didn't really decide. I discussed it and suggested it, but I didn't really attain feedback from this group if that was a direction that we were wanting to go. But I didn't hear any objections, so.
The training day?
Yeah, like
No, I
having
think
the
that's
day.
I think that's a great idea.
Need a motion that
I
we're
would-
going to.
I don't think we need a motion. I made an assumption, but I didn't really go,
Yeah.
what do you think? Yeah.
I would say, my personal opinion is, unless you're going to focus on employment and the ADA, I would put it in July. That would be my opinion, just because that's the anniversary of the Americans with Disability Act. That's when a lot of other communities offer that kind of thing.
Is that
But they
too
are
close?
offered all the time.
Is that too close to April? And are too many people on summer vacation during that time?
Yeah, that would be, July would be a really hard month, I think, for this city, for our staff to manage that because of demands in our capacity. But we looked at October because, one, it did tie to that, but it was really because it's exactly 6 months apart. So you have 6 months
No, I think
between each
October's
one.
fine.
Yeah, that would be my only thing. So, and we knew we couldn't do it this October. That's too quick a turnaround. So we were looking at October 2024.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Next item on the agenda is reminder of upcoming elections.
And that is not elections throughout the city. That is
Right.
elections for
Here.
this commission and board and all commissions and boards. Just letting people know that it is coming up and thinking about what people want to do, what offices and that kind of stuff, that it is next time.
Okay.
Our next meeting, because we don't meet, is usually in September for most people, but since we don't meet till November, it will be next meeting for this group.
Okay. Any preliminary discussion items? We kind of preliminarily discussed an education.
Yes, we weren't
Yes.
quite sure where to put that one,
Real
but
quick, Chair Oaks, we missed 3.5, scheduling study session for
I'm
board
sorry.
training.
yes,
Yes.
No, you're
I
fine,
just
it's up
turned to
there.
that.
Yes. Yes, are we needing to schedule a study session for training?
The next, the proposal and what we typically do is at the next commission meeting, which is in November, do the training that we do for all boards and commissions to make sure they are aware of CORA, COMA, the typical rules. What we have typically done is immediately following the next regular board meeting, which is November 2nd, doing that. And we wanted to make sure, one, to bring it to everyone's attention for the next meeting and make sure that's still acceptable of a time.
And that is something that everybody needs to attend who is going to be on the board.
Correct. So all new commission members and all returning commission members. It's a reminder.
I think that sounds fine.
I thought that was a good way to do
Okay,
it.
so we will plan on that, and we'll make sure we have to have a quorum for both. We do ask, at all possible, to have people present for that training. The training is not typically published, like once the study, because it's treated as a study session during a study session, so it's not all live. And it follows the live meeting and then the study session after that to go over. Usually it's a PowerPoint is what we do, and some guides, yeah, to go over that.
Okay. All right. I broached preliminary discussion items, and I don't know that there's anything further. Any unfinished business? Any public forum comments?
I don't see anyone besides commissioners present and Dr. Finger, Commissioner Finger's guest. If he, that's
Okay.
only,
If I may,
Yes.
sure.
we have discussed how proud we are of this,
Yeah, sorry.
we have discussed how proud we are of this board because they have addressed two important issues. One very obvious down Roach Street, this continuous sidewalk from Crawford
Yeah, it's
all the
awesome.
way down. And so now Margaret Ann has a very safe and nice place to walk. The survey y'all did that addressed the other issues, you've been making progress on that. I sit on the Trees Advisory Board. We're doing real good in the same spirit that y'all are, and as a member of the National Federation of Blind, a huge group, sometimes they get stagnant. They talk more than they do. Either that or what they're doing is not seen as publicly. So kudos to y'all. Thank you very much for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So at this time, I will remind everybody that our next regular meeting is November 2nd at 3 with a follow-up study session immediately after the meeting for training, and open for a movement of adjournment.
If I might.
Oh, wait, okay.
I did have one announcement. We forgot to add this to the agenda, and it's just a simple announcement. We have a new commissioner, or a new staff person who will be the liaison to this commission. So I wanted to welcome Lillian Morales. She came over to us from the engineering department, and I know the last time we had a meeting, we said we hoped we'd have someone on board, and we do. So Lillian's here with us today.
I wondered when I saw your name on an email, so.
So
I did. I got it. I was like, who is that? I don't even know who that is.
So we're very happy to have her join us, and Marissa will stay on helping through the end of the year on the commissions, so she's still training with the commissions, but by January, she should be the liaison for this commission. Or, I'm sorry, the clerk. I'm the liaison, she's the clerk. I forget our roles here, but yes, she will be clerking for this commission.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So-
Looking forward to working with you guys.
All right, anyone move to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
And a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second, we adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And we are adjourned.
Thank you.